It's quite possible, and it's okay, if you've reached a point now where, okay, you've learned the fundamental techniques, you're trying to mimic what I'm doing, and you're working on applying that pattern to the hi-hats, and you're trying to get the accent tap up to tempo, and it just doesn't come up to tempo. You feel like your hands are struggling, things aren't working so well. Well, this video, we want to troubleshoot that. We want to talk about some troubleshooting methods, some additional exercises and workouts you can do with your hands to really improve your hi-hat playing. These are things that have directly helped me and that also will help your doubles and other rudiments. If you're practicing rudiments, that's going to help your hi-hat playing. If you practice your hi-hat playing, it's going to help your rudiments. So these are just some core fundamental exercises you can use to build up more finger strength, build up more wrist strength, and get more and more comfortable and have better endurance playing the hi-hat so that you can play more musically and sound better. Our first thing is just this basic finger exercise. This is nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary. I'm sure you've seen it before. But I encourage you to practice it, and in practicing it, make sure that your hand is not moving. It's just your fingers propelling the stick. The stick has its pivot point here on that knuckle of your first finger, thumbs resting on top, and then the other three fingers are propelling it. Basically, the faster and louder you can get it on a soft surface like this folded towel, the more of a workout you're going to get, and the more quickly you're going to really feel a burn in your forearm. There's a lot of forearm muscles that are controlling your fingers, and we really need to activate these fingers to be able to play well on the hi-hat. So practice that with both hands. It may be easier with one hand than the other, and that's okay. If your right hand is your better hand, you can then do it at the same time with both of your hands and say, okay, I'm going to let my right hand teach my left hand how to play this. Just make sure both hands are looking the same and doing the same thing, and that the hand isn't moving. It's just the fingers propelling the stick along that pivot point. That way you're really getting the workout. Do this on a folded towel, do it on your leg, do it on like a soft floor, on a pillow, whatever. The idea is that you want to not have much rebound helping you. You want to really work things out. And in doing that, you would then be able to play on a normal surface, and it's way easier. And that's the whole point of doing a workout. You want to really challenge yourself so that then when you actually go onto the drums or onto the hi-hat, it feels easy in comparison. Now, step 2 here is isolating each finger, because it's very possible in practicing this that maybe you're struggling with it and you're not able to get everything feeling good with maybe your left hand. Maybe it's okay with the right and not so good with the left. Well, it's possible that not all of your left hand fingers are at fault. It might just be one finger in particular. Just for sake of camera angle here, I'm going to show it to you with my right. But let's pretend this is my weak hand and I'm struggling. Well, I want to know which finger is actually holding things back. What's the weakest link? It could be middle finger, could be ring, could be pinky. There's a good chance it's pinky, but pinky actually has a lot of potential to have a lot of power behind the stick because of where it's positioned. You get more leverage over here than you do if you're right here. And so we really need to make sure we're using that pinky. So maybe you need to practice just propelling it with your pinky. Forget the other two fingers. It does take practice finding that position where you can make sure your finger doesn't slip off of it. But make sure that, it's kind of pinky pad and knuckle maybe that's actually making the contact there. And sure, the other fingers are wiggling, but they're not touching the stick. Do the same thing with ring finger. Because this finger is a little bit longer, it's okay for it to stick out further, so we're kind of resting in between the knuckles. And then middle finger. Kind of the same thing where it's actually in between those knuckles that's actually making contact with the stick. All the while, we're staying positioned right up here in our pivot point on the first knuckle or last knuckle, depending on how you look at it, of the pointer finger. So go one finger at a time, and you'll quickly figure out which finger it is that's holding you back, and that's the finger you want to focus on. So as you're doing that, and as you're getting all of your fingers up to speed, really all 3 of them that we're using in this exercise, jump on to exercise number 2 in the workbook, where you're going back and forth between them, doing a measure of middle finger, then a measure of ring finger, a measure of pinky. And by the way, I like playing these as triplets. I don't know why, I've just always liked playing these as triplets rather than 16ths. It has a nicer flow to it, and it's more fun to do the exercise, I guess. So you can switch it around if you don't want to, but if you're following along, we'll do a measure of middle finger. So 1, 2, 3, then ring finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, then pinky, 2, 3, 4. Now all together, 2, 3, back to middle, 2, 3, 4, ring, 2, together. 2, 3, 4. All the while, our goal is to challenge ourselves with the speed, because the more you push the speed and the softer your workout surface, the better workout you're going to get, the faster progress you're going to make. If I'm going at that tempo, I'm getting a pretty good workout here. Same thing with my left hand. You'll find that you feel the burn more easily in one arm or the other. And so there you know which one really needs the work, which needs the workout. And so you can really expose some flaws in your technique in doing this. You expose weaknesses, and that's what we want to do. We want to expose and address those weaknesses. And so focusing on those fingers individually will really help it'll help make that brain connection so that you know how to use your fingers, and it'll help strengthen them so then you can use them in playing doubles. Because if you're playing doubles with no finger effort, they sound like, where you're just relying on that natural rebound. But once you start incorporating fingers, you start to feel that same kind of burn that you feel when doing this. So this helps a lot with the doubles, and it's going to help a lot with the hi-hat playing.